The scene opens with Craig Daniels, an honest American mechanic, because of course all working-class heroes have to start that way, sitting at home with his family when he decides to open his wallet. Unfortunately, what he found in there was basically the financial equivalent of a post-apocalyptic desert. Bills were piling up, pressure was rising, and he, like any good American husband, chose dramatic silence as his emotional response. The next day, as he left the house for work, Craig noticed a piece of paper stuck to his door, an eviction notice. Nothing says good morning like a legal threat taped to your home. He took a deep breath, shoved the despair in his pocket, since money clearly wasn't going in there, and went to work, only to discover that his boss wanted to talk, which of course never means a raise. Minutes later, he was unemployed, surprising absolutely no one. Too afraid to face his wife, Craig wandered the streets and ended up in a bar, the natural habitat of protagonists in crisis. There, someone grabbed him from behind, who luckily turned out to be Vince. That kind of friend life insists on throwing back at you in your worst moments. Vince, showcasing peak emotional maturity, pretended to be a mugger because apparently that's the humor of a fully functional adult. They talked, and Craig revealed the tragedy of the day: unemployment, a 15-month-old baby, and the small need for $4,500. Vince, who once broke a guy's arm for $80, a true example of questionable entrepreneurship, couldn't help financially. But fate, or maybe pure bad luck, led them to join a rich couple, Violet and Colin, who were celebrating a birthday by spending money like extras in The Wolf of Wall Street. That's when the little game started, with ridiculous bets and $300 wine treated like cheap soda. Between stupid bets, public humiliation, and Colin snorting drugs like he was running a quality control test, Craig tried to keep some sense of dignity, and failed, obviously. They moved to another bar, Vince kept competing like a teenager in eternal crisis mode, and Craig was pressured to stay once more. Everything escalated until the glorious moment when Colin offered $500 for Craig to punch a security guard. And of course, given how the night was going, Craig accepted and was immediately knocked out. He woke up in the couple's luxury home, now treated like an accidental guest. Violet cared for him with a weird tenderness, Colin offered more pills than a pharmacy, and Vince seemed increasingly thrilled by the chaos. In the middle of all that, Vince dropped the revelation of the century. He wanted to rob the couple. According to him, Colin had $150,000 in an unlocked safe. Craig refused until financial desperation beat whatever common sense he had left. The robbery predictably fell apart before it even began, since Colin was a martial arts master and Violet owned a gun because, well, Americans. Instead of calling the police, they laughed, said it was all part of their fun birthday night, and proposed more games. Because when bored millionaires meet desperate poor people, it always ends well. The first challenge, holding their breath. Craig almost won until Vince punched him just to prove some questionable point.
Then came dares so absurd that even the writers of Uncut Gems would say, "Okay, dial it back." Craig threw dirt at a neighbor's house for money, and then, for $4,500, had an intimate moment with Violet, earning cash, guilt, and a jealousy meltdown that would make a Mexican soap opera look subtle. He tried to leave, but came back when he realized he still needed more. That's when the insanity reached Olympic levels, cutting off his own finger for $15,000. After that came the "congratulations, you've officially lost all dignity" moment, eating the neighbor's dead dog, which coincidentally had died trying to eat Craig's finger. After tying with Vince, the tiebreaker required eating his own finger. Craig swallowed it and won. Vince, fueled by rage and humiliation, attacked him. Colin, always the agent of chaos, ramped things up by offering $250,000 to whoever killed the other. Vince hesitated and tried to convince Craig to escape. But Craig, emotionally destroyed and running on pure adrenaline, ended up killing his friend. Colin, satisfied as if he had just watched his favorite show, called Craig a cab. Before he left, he revealed that he and Violet had been betting from the start on which friend would kill the other, and Violet had won. Craig returned home covered in blood and carrying stacks of money, where his son ran to hug him. His wife appeared, staring not only at the blood, but at the piles of cash. And there he stood, without a single explanation, an ending just as uncomfortable as Seven's finale. This film was shot in only 14 days, and most of the cast had to improvise several scenes to maintain the chaotic tension the movie aimed to create. Now, if you were in Craig's place, at what point would you have quit the games and run for your life? Honestly, I wouldn't have agreed to join these challenges at all, but leave your opinion in the comments. Guys, I'm sorry for the lack of videos on the channel lately. I was without the equipment I needed to edit, but now we're back to a normal posting schedule. I really hope you enjoy it. See you in the next video, and don't forget to check out the one on screen. I guarantee it's fantastic.